volume of us and everything, and we'll switch over to our live video feed. So, greetings and salutations, everyone. Welcome back to the Inn of Planar Crossroads, and welcome back, travelers, because we have an Around the Hearth, obviously, you can see the title up at the top, going on today. And we're going to be talking about fearful gaming, and we have a someone we haven't had on our videos yet. So we have our guest from Black Dragon Gaming. Say hi.
My name is Tommy. This is my wife, Sarah. We do a lot of dumb little RPG videos. We're just starting out, but we have a lot of like maxing stuff. We cover more live streams, and if you're into that kind of thing, I'm sure Adam would be more than kind to throw a link in the description. Come check us out.
Indeed, we will have links to everybody's stuff in the description. So hopefully people will be able to do that. Now, before we get directly in, let's go ahead and talk about what we're going over today, which will be, if you are watching live, hopefully you're watching live. Hopefully my computer's connection is doing better than its indicator is showing me, and you're able to watch live on Twitch. We are going to be talking about fearful gaming, or more precisely, we're going to be talking about using fear in your games because it's, tomorrow's Halloween for some people that like to celebrate it, so it seems aptly time to talk about fear and gaming, which is what we're going to do. So, Kane and Colin from my channel, the Inn of Planar Crossroads, have said that they might pop in on us. So, if they do, then we will go ahead and get their input also. But we're going to try to do this in a not too long-winded fashion. So hopefully we don't go like a couple hours trying to talk about fear and gaming and horror and stuff like that, because I'm pretty sure we could. But
I certainly could. Yeah, I'll do my best not to ramble.
He's good at it.
No. Of course not. Okay. So we're going to try and break it up into categories, I suppose. First thing we'll talk about is our personal experiences with fear and gaming and stuff like that. So let's go ahead. I will let you guys take the floor first, since you are the guests. And
all right.
Yep.
I think personally that fear in gaming is like one of the most difficult things to do well, especially in a setting like Pathfinder or Dungeons and Dragons or something like that that's really based on numbers, and it kind of plays more like an action movie, I guess. Like, it's really hard to scare somebody, at least in my experience, in terms of like stats. Like the last home game I ran with her and a couple of friends of mine, the great old ones from Pathfinder were the big bads, and at no point in time did I really feel I was like scaring anyone. Of course, we had
scared me, you remember.
Okay, I scared one person. But a lot of times I just felt like the paladins were ready to play paladin ball, essentially.
I got in there before the paladins got in there, so I got missed all my will saves, and my characters got taken by the Cthulhu monster.
Taken by the Cthulhu monster. Fear in gaming, you have systems like, is it called Call of Cthulhu? The one that's just straight Eldritch Horror, is that what it's called?
Yes, it's called Call of Cthulhu.
I think it's called.
Yep.
I've never played that one, but I imagine something like that hits it more on the head. Pathfinder, like I said, it's really hard to do. Maybe it's just from my experiences, but a lot of my players, if they see there's a monster and they attack it and it attacks them, it clicks in the player's head that this has stats, we can kill it. And then there was Kane.
Hello.
What's up, dude?
Not much, man. Yourselves?
For the day.
Oh, there we go. See, something I'm not pleased with this particular hangout is I have to click back and forth to everyone that's talking to get their face up there, which is annoying. But
That's weird.
I know. I
This
gotta.
is literally my first time on Google Hangouts, so.
Yeah. Well, I've heard that Discord is trying to implement voice chat, which would be a much welcome change, in my opinion.
I think
Yeah,
you mean
for
video
sure.
chat.
Yeah, because Discord is kind of like all voice chat. We know what he meant.
Yeah. Hey, GMs,
Well, I don't know.
Anyway,
never make mistakes, you know? I don't do that. I don't have to improvise at all.
no, we're all perfect here. Yeah, no.
I don't know about you Americans, but me and all my Canadian friends have video chat on Discord.
Oh. It's not right. It's not
We're
right.
down here.
I think it's about time we finally got something before you guys.
Hey, you had Justin Bieber before us. I'm sure we'll let you have him back.
Oh
Yeah, that was a
And
punishment.
Avril Lavigne.
Also, it finally happened. My screen is totally broke, so I've been reduced to this. This is my life now.
Well, now, see, now you feel like real important because you're holding the mic now, and you can get right in there, get real close, and
Yeah.
I can just get right up in your ears. Get a little ASMR action.
Right up in the follicles.
Okay. So Tommy was telling us about how he thinks that it's really hard to do fear in tabletop gaming, simply
I really
because of
do,
the
yeah.
environment.
Well, yeah. A big part of generating that kind of atmosphere, especially in a tabletop game, is you're in a room with all your friends, and in their living room, and the lights are probably on, and there's a pizza sitting anyway. It's hard to feel like the Wolfman's gonna get you when there's pepperoni within arm's reach.
Yeah.
Okay.
One of the things I think you can do to make it better is you could try like different things like playing music, or maybe like showing like scary pictures or scary backdrops, like this is the setting, or use different adjectives to describe the setting.
Especially if somebody's like really used to you saying like XYZ, especially in a certain game, if you start changing it up a little bit, they'll start asking questions. To truly accomplish horror in a tabletop game, you can't scare the PC because the PC is essentially numbers and dice. You have to scare the player, and changing up your own rotation, like making something that worked a session or 5 ago not work suddenly out of nowhere, that'll do it.
Yeah.
Of course, some players might just, whoa, that isn't working, what's going on here, that kind of thing. But, I mean, that's the start. You got to make them ask questions before they're going to get afraid of stuff.
I don't know. Sometimes you can sort of line everything up and it's perfect. One of my friends, he's our GM in the game I play in person. One of the games I play in person. He was house sitting for a friend of his at a house that none of us had ever been to, and he decided that this was the perfect opportunity to run a Call of Cthulhu game at 2:00 in the morning in a house none of us had ever seen before, in the basement with all the lights off.
Okay.
And he did a good job. Like, it was very atmospheric. I didn't get scared because I'm too strong for that. But
You're too amazing.
Malcolm was there, and it's one of the handful of occasions I think we almost made him pee himself.
One of the handful of occasions. That's friends right there, man. That's friends, you know?
We're hard on him.
Yeah.
He can take it though. It may have had something to do with us all hiding when he went to the bathroom.
Yeah, that probably would have done it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what you guys are bringing up is
Essentially,
something.
like characters under duress or something.
Yeah.
And he just comes back ready to roll. And of course, I know nothing about Call of Cthulhu.
Right.
But
Call of Cthulhu, I think it's like, personally, I have certain parts of it that agree with you on that it's hard to do, and it can be hard to do. I think that that there are advantages to be had for in-person gaming with it, and then there are some advantages that there are some things you can take advantage of in online games, because there may not be anyone in the room with that person in the online game, which can add that to that idea of isolation. So to paraphrase, I won't say quote, to paraphrase Lovecraft, the thing we fear most The fear we have deepest is the fear of the unknown. And I think that has a lot to do with what you were talking about, Tommy, of putting in there that something that worked a few sessions ago doesn't now work. All of a sudden, this normal thing that's happening, or normal for the game setting, is no longer normal. And I think that my players have kind of gotten used, not necessarily used to that, but come to expect when I say it just doesn't work that way, or something just doesn't work at that moment, that I'm not shystering them. I'm not trying to get them that way. But I am able to put them off their ease, that you can off the groove that you can fall into with your character, with your PC, and saying, well, I'm just going to do this if this happens. I may be mistaken, Kane. Am I mistaken?
Adam's become very proficient at making us paranoid. We did spend the better part of 2 months in a nightmare-scape trapped in a ghost town, didn't we not?
Yes. Yes. I was going to bring that up. Before we bring that up, let's talk about let's let Tommy talk about something that he may have personally done in game to help those that are wanting to incorporate more fear into their games. Let him talk about a experience that he may have either worked his players into, aside from the Cthulhu one, because Sarah got scared on that one, but another situation where he might have used certain gimmicks or tricks to get them out of their comfort zone and instill just a smidgen of, if not fear, maybe doubt.
I think the best way I ever did that was back in like 2000, and like whenever Slender Man was really big, whenever that was like a brand new thing. I was playing a 3.5 game with a bunch of like no magic. We're talking a barbarian, a fighter, a rogue, and like a ranger. I think nobody has divine magic. No one has magic, period. And I decided to put them in the Slender Man forest. And a lot of the stuff that happens, like they would think it wouldn't happen. Like I remember I had a rope bridge snap, and the party would be split like 4 different ways, floating up and down a river. My cat's outside. And I would just say, no save, it happens. And the players, I was kind of unfortunate at the time. I didn't have like the group that I have now. A lot of them got pretty belligerent about it, but I mean, that's an entirely different horror story right there. And he just pressed on. Like, I brought some NPCs in, and to like drive it home, I had them step on the wrong square on the board, and they no save die. And that makes my players, as they're trying to find the 8 notes, really like watch their step, and when the fog rolls in, they freak out a little more. I also like, really just in general, if you want a horror game, the character sheet has to cease to matter. The players like to immerse themselves. It's just like any other, just like any other role play scenario. You got to get them off their character sheet, and you got to get them like mentally in the game. And if you like, if they touch something and then suddenly like say the barbarian strength scores have no save, then he's going to stop looking at his character sheet, A, because his strength is over, something is dead, and B, they have to start like coming up with creative answers to the problems, and thus begins immersion, which is like horror has to be like, here's the normal level of we are like in the town, our role playing with NPCs and stuff. Up here is where horror is, and you've got to get them up here, like sell that atmosphere. It also helps like, I'm fortunate present day, pretty much, like with the exception of my Roll20 group, everybody who I play with in real life, I'm like either married to or super best friends with, so we know each other front to back. I know what scares my friends. I know what makes them like squeamish.
Oh shit!
My cat just fell. And that's how you don't do horror. You make sure the animals are going, because they will break immersion hard. Anyway, so like for example, I knew we were talking about this with Cthulhu. My wife was playing a Gripply Magus, and this whole time she's playing neutral good. She's the helper and all this stuff, and then gets permanently mind controlled. And I look at her and I tell her, Marcella is no longer the helper. Now she wants to destroy. And that happened pretty much.
You're gonna make me cry again.
But that's how, like, in my experience, like I said, just pull them off the character sheet, pull them into the theater of the mind. Whether that board but still see stuff here, you just got to get them away from here. And again, like I said before, monsters, if they have stats, I mean, crazy players aside, if they have stats, they're going to try to kill it. That's just how it is. And like, if you know a game super well, you might know that you and you need an incorporeal weapon to hit ghosts, and Wail of the Banshee is bad. But if suddenly these things don't work, or suddenly you make some kind of homebrew monster that looks like a ghoul but isn't paralyzing you, it's like mind controlling you, or your arm falls off and like out sprouts. So like the Thing style in this merged 80s movie monster that starts eating the party. It goes completely off book, and I think that's where horror begins. They have to start questioning.
Yes, getting that personal investment from the characters, or at least knowing when they've invested personally, and then being able to play with it. I refer to myself, when asked if I'm a sadistic GM, I refer to myself as a benevolently sadistic GM.
Yeah, for sure.
Simply because
I always tell my guys that I'm not trying to kill you. I'm just trying to kill you. Right? Like, I'm not. There always should be that light at the end of the tunnel, unless like, or something like that. Like, there should be some way to fix the bad afterwards. But for that, like 3-4 hours that you're in game, everything should be just nightmare.
that can be a way.
And that's part of like the GM player trust, I guess.
Yes, and when you have that trust,
Like,
when you have their trust in your hands, it's so delicious. So Kane, as someone whose trust has been in my hands,
Yes.
is there a specific instance that you think has you probably didn't get afraid, but that you knew for sure that it changed your behavior and your PC's behavior with what was happening?
There hasn't been a ton of it so far in Rise of the Rune Lords, but there were a couple times in Rise and Fall, which was a series we did that we didn't really record a lot of.
Hey! You gotta get the title right. It was beginnings and endings of many a great hero. Okay, it's not that long.
Well, it's a mouthful, and Rise and Fall is easier to say. Also, I forgot the name. I'm sorry.
But okay,
yeah,
so
definitely. Where Ignatius had to change something.
Mm-hmm. Well, Ignatius had a lot of stuff happen to him. I mean, he was the character that had the most crazy, altering, mind messing with stuff happen. So.
Well, you tried to put stuff in my butt.
I didn't try. I succeeded.
You succeeded.
That's right.
Which I think that definitely had an effect on his personality by itself. I think the fact that not only it happened, but it happened more than once, and the last time it happened, it gave me superpowers.
Yep, pretty much. A fire. What was it? A fire ooze or something? It wasn't an ooze.
It was a tear of flame something. It's a really low CR monster in Pathfinder that can form a symbiotic bond with another creature.
Mm-hmm.
And it gives you a bunch of stuff like you don't have to eat or drink anymore, and you're immune to fire, and you can wreathe your body in flame like the Human Torch once per day.
Yeah, that happened because
but in exchange,
you passed the save.
Yeah.
So. Yeah,
because I passed the save, that happened.
Yeah.
Otherwise, yeah, and even passing the save, eventually it'll sort of like chest burster out of his body and turn him into a Star Child.
Ooh.
But Iggy's gonna live a very, very long time. So hopefully that doesn't happen for a while.
Yeah. Well, she's technically spoilers. Well, it's not spoilers because they can't watch it. She's technically is a princess. That wasn't just some nickname she gave herself. She is Princess Boog. So it was.
I think legit. Boog might have been a nickname.
Well, you never know with those types of creatures.
Boog was short for booger.
Oh.
But so that is something that did happen. To give some personal
and that was a part of the story that yeah, that was a part of the story that didn't necessarily scare Ignatius, but it was something that introduced an atmosphere that changed the way Icky acted.
Yeah.
You know, because now he was empirically speaking more powerful. You know, fire! I guess I'll just touch that with my bare hands now.
Yeah, but he had 3
I
personalities.
suppose that
bumping around in his
Ugh.
noggin.
yes, that was the scary part, managing 3 different brains.
Yep. Thankfully, I took a little of that off his plate by doing most of the RP for Boog. But anyway, to give some characteristics of things that I've done or that I've used, or that I know for a fact I've scared some players into at least changing their habits, has happened a few times. There's the animate dream sequence that was Lacrima, that town of Lacrima in Beginnings and Endings. And it was something that I wanted to do. I think we may have come around to Halloween time or pretty close to it, and I was like, I'll do something kind of freaky for them. And so I had them get stuck in a town, basically. And I did a lot of foreshadowing with Johnson and stuff like that. And there being a silver dragon. And throughout that whole time, there was this strange, eerie town that they were stuck in. And even when they were out of it, they weren't in the town. They had been tongue-lashed, I guess as you would say, by the animate dream and put into a dream state where it was feeding off them. And they had to get to it within the dream to get out of the dream and destroy it. Well, lots of fun stuff happens when those things happen, including this was the first time that our paladin of Pharasma, that's what he was. He was a gray paladin. We made it to where he could be a lawful neutral.
A little piece of homebrew.
Little piece of homebrew, Pharasman paladin, which I think is totally legit. I think all paladins could be lawful.
Oh yeah, for
and
sure.
They should change their name to champion instead of paladin. But that's a different story. They had he had a scythe as his thing, so he wore medium armor and had this scythe around. Well, this was the first time that he decided to throw it through the air to try and hit the animate dream before it got away, and he succeeded. He succeeded in getting it, and I was like, okay, it did it. And so he did that 2 more times, and he got a feat where he could throw it and it would return. No, he got a weapon that was thrown to him that he could throw and it would return to him as part of the reward for getting Johnson to where he needed to be. That was one thing that happened. I think we can kind of agree. I think Ken can agree with me that while not scary, it could have been scary if we had framed it in a certain way. The strange events at Milcian.
I think that whole sequence was very atmospheric.
Yeah.
There was a lot of like House of 1,000 Swords kind of stuff going on.
And I thought it was funny because you guys were immediately jumping on the idea of, oh, zombies, apocalypse type thing, and I just let you guys run with it, and that's what you got to do if you're gonna get this whole atmospheric fear type thing going, this at least apprehension going. You have to let the PCs assume all that they want to assume. Let them do all the assumptions they want.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Because they're going to anyway, because they're PCs. Like, it doesn't matter what plan you made, no plan survives contact with the party. That's like rule 1 when you're a GM. And if they're going down this rabbit hole, but it's actually this one, then it's even better when they realize that it's actually this instead of that.
Oh yeah.
That's like a cardinal rule of writing horror, is to let your reader or your player fill in the blanks for you. Because whatever they come up with is going to be way scarier to them than whatever you come up with.
Oh yeah, because it exists here for them, whereas like it's what's in your brain and what's in theirs is an entirely different thing. And if they can see 150% of the mental picture, whatever they have, then you've achieved immersion, and you have to have like to make.
Oh, exactly. You're breaking up a little, but exactly what you said. Yes.
But two spots I would like to mention before we continue on to kind of other things that we might work with people on or give recommendations for on it is one happened by accident. One scary thing happened by accident. It was more exciting, and the PCs were quite afraid. That was the Sandpoint Devil incident.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
That really freaked some. That kicked some stuff into high gear.
Yeah, you know what? Don't pat yourself on the back too much over Malcolm rolling triple zeros.
Now, in my games, when that happens, that's always like ultimate success. So, what does 3 zeros mean? I assume they're gonna find like a super awesome magic weapon just unattended on the side of the road. Nope, not at all.
No.
Oh man, what's
And
with
I
that
cheated.
sword in the rock?
Actually, is a horse demon thing. Rah.
Yeah.
As you guys were describing it, I had to go to work. So like, I come back to says I need send, and I'll admit I cheated. Like, I go to work and I'm thinking about it, and I'm just, what is that? I know what that is, and so I type in, what did I Google? It was something like Varisia horror Pathfinder, and then here's the Sandpoint Devil. So for that whole encounter, I know the thing has a breath weapon, and you guys are just posted on a cart.
Yep.
Like screaming internally, get out of breath weapon formation, get out of breath weapon formation.
Yep.
Which I guess is right there another aspect of, like I was saying, once players know monsters, it's less scary. So like if they know that, I'm trying to think what has a breath weapon that isn't involved. The Sandpoint Devil, for example.
Dragons, Lenorms.
Put that ABC to scare. Anything that's like you're trying to use for horror, throw a breath weapon on it, and they don't see it coming, and then suddenly here's just gouts of flame coming from like a goblin dog, say, and that they're going to start asking questions, and I think that's the beginning.
Yep. Yep.
We started asking a lot of questions after some creatures that shouldn't have been half dragons started showing up as half dragons.
Hey,
Yeah.
Hey, I gave you a legit answer on what was going on with those. I did. Okay.
The gibbering mouther was the worst one, far and away.
Yeah. Half dragon gibbering mouther. That was something. But the second thing, and I think you guys can actually watch this one, just not on. I think you have to go to Numbers on a Cube. We probably need to shift that over at some point to the end of Planar Crossroads. But if you go to Numbers on a Cube, you can watch an episode of the 9 Guilds, and in it they were going through a dungeon, and I was slowly revealing things, and I wasn't thinking anything about it until they came to the Mimic Hallway. And that whole situation there was golden. That was one of my most favorite moments in the RPGs that we've ever played, because Malcolm had just started with us, you know? I mean, and then he started getting answers down this hallway of the songs that he was singing, and it was really freaky, because there was a bunch of treasure chests down the hallway, but there was nothing happening. Nothing was moving, and they suspected a mimic. So they, the PCs already, thought, oh well, there's something up down here, and they started poking the chest. Well, it was funny because even though they knew that there was a mimic down that hallway, or they believed they knew there was a mimic down that hallway that was singing, echoing back to them creepily, they didn't know where or which or what was going to happen when they found it. So they just were creeping down the hallway, and all I did was move a token, and Colin went, ho, 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 and it was excellent. It was excellent. It scared the player.
You're a monster.
I know. But
I was there. I watched it happen. You're an animal.
What can I say? I offer no excuses. I know I am a sadistically benevolent GM. Just so you know. But yes, that's probably my favorite time that happened, where I knew fear had happened at that moment.
Yeah.
So
Once upon a time, this was the same campaign that had the Great Old Ones, but it was like way beginning of the game, we spent a lot of time in Assyrion, and I put the party in like a long lost like tomb of some pharaoh, and I picked up a D4 and I started rolling it a couple times, and eventually people start looking at you like, "What are you doing, Tommy?" I just keep rolling this D4. I decided that every time I rolled the D4, the party would all age 1 year every like 1d4 rounds, and just run that and like make the dungeon have a lot of rooms that are just like, here are 5 sarcophagi, there are absolutely nothing in them, and you're just wasting your time, which is totally fine for like, she's on a Samsaran, so she's got 5 bajillion years before she's gonna die, but the party's orc, who's already like at middle age and has like 10 years before he's dead.
That's brutal.
What's above middle age elder?
Venerable?
Venerable.
Yeah, he was venerable before the end of his days. Of course, that's like 40 for him, but...
Well, I mean, maybe he decided to multi-class after that and could have got some sick sorcerer stuff going on, or you know.
Yeah, right into wizard.
Yeah, just all of the intelligence. Well, I think he was a fighter. I don't think his intelligence was too bad. This was also like, we're pretty good at being munchkins where I come from. So everybody threw orc. I don't remember. I think Flapjack was like a half dragon something.
His hair keeps over there. I can just check.
I haven't done that much. But that's another like, they started asking questions because he knows he's a half dragon orc, so he assumes he's going to live longer. And then, what is your max age? Oh no! And then we bring up the table, we roll it. Just like something, he looks at his sheet.
That's something to put the fear into the PCs and possibly the players, depending on how much they like that character. So.
Yeah, venerable is a -6 to all your physical stats.
Yeah.
Hey, but it's a plus.
And even if you've got templates out the wazoo, at least on this one, like the party fighter, it just drops by like some I don't quite remember.
Did Flapjack die in the end?
Flapjack did die in the end,
Oh,
but
yeah.
not of old age. He died of
He died of.
He failed the will save and just died on the spot.
No.
But
Well, there we go.
him and like nobody else.
I think the only reason I think like somebody didn't die of one of my characters because like I got 2 crits and when I was with like a pick that character makes the save too.
Mm-hmm. I get really rewardy of natural 20s, but so true for natural ones. Like the day when we played, she nat 1 and then used the hero point to reroll and then rolls a nat 1. So like curses can come out really fast.
Yeah, my character definitely almost died to that one.
I have noticed your
That's like a-
tendency to quite liberally reward those 20s and those 1s. Indeed. I don't think my
I
character.
mean, we're all here to have fun anyway, right?
Yeah. All right.
I just like giving, I guess. I don't know.
I might
That's-
take that from over here.
I got it. Don't getting into. He's not going to be like Colin's cat for sure. Not Colin. I kind of know. Gideon's cat. I know his name by his PC a little more. His cat showing up and it's like with him on the camera.
Well, technically, it's not Gideon's cat. Technically, it's Mazus's cat that is now the familiar
Oh yeah.
of his ward, Aaron. So, yeah, the drunken cat.
Got to get that +3 stealth bonus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't know necessarily that Shen isn't back. See, I mean, that
Yeah, I
fox,
guess so, huh? I'm still a little behind.
That fox was technically a pure white before that whole incident happened.
The ghost
so
fox.
I got plenty of stuff to do with that. Okay, so let's go on and finish up with a few inspirational things that we can give. Some things they can watch, play, do for inspiration when it comes to ideas for their games, as far as things to incorporate or perhaps atmosphere to use. And we'll start with Kane if he's got. He doesn't GM much, I don't think. But what are some things that you can use?
It's very sporadic. I have got a bunch of friends who write kind of semi-professionally, so I usually talk to them when I need someone to bounce ideas off of. I'm kind of lucky that way. But I mean, like regardless of whether you're a player or a GM, like don't be afraid to like write everything down. I bought a whole pack of cue cards and I've already gone through like half of it, which is something like 100 cue cards. It's ridiculous, and it's just session notes or whenever I have a thought, getting out of the shower, I write it down and I can use it later. Also, don't be afraid to just deliberately plagiarize things. Maybe
Yeah.
if you're not going to publish it, no, that's definitely never happened. Farscape Arc.
That happened in a Pathfinder game. A Farscape Arc happened in a Pathfinder game. So
you're not gonna. Yeah, you're not publicizing this, and even if you are, pretty sure this falls under parody law at this point. So don't worry about it.
Call anybody out.
He is dead, Tommy.
Oh,
So long as you and your players are having a good time, it doesn't matter.
No.
So, all right. So what about Tommy and Sarah? What are some things that someone could watch, play, do to get some inspiration for putting fear into their games?
into the hearts of player characters.
Hold on. I got it right here.
Aha. There you go.
I mean, that's one way. You can probably get inspiration from anything, though. Like, somebody we used to play with claims they got an idea from watching Barbershop 2. I don't know what that idea was. But I bet EV3 gets who that was. But, but I don't know if we ever saw that play out. But, I mean, get inspiration from anything.
Yeah. By that same token, though, like, if you're really trying to, like, bring forth the atmosphere of fear, really common with, and
Yeah.
references, I'll kill it. So, like, if you want to use something, like, from a plagiarized aspect, I was in a buddy of mine's GM. I can't remember the name of the computer game, and I did play it. It's like SCP Containment Breach, I think is what it's called.
That sounds right.
It's I didn't get very far because, but like, everything pretty much. Okay. So like I'm playing a druid and there's a crocodile that's hungry. Oh, okay, let me feed you, buddy. Snap. And then there's like a plague doctor running around and like, I need to heal you. Scalpel kills you. That kind of thing. And I don't know. You have to constantly look at it, and if you don't look at it, like, it'll jump up behind you and snap your neck or something. I don't quite remember. But the execution was pretty good. I wasn't really scared so much of, like, I guess I'm a really big fan of or the logical. So it's kind of more like a macabre interest. But again, I think like if you want inspiration, just like either use what scares you because you're going to be able to tell that story better because you're afraid of it, or like learn your characters. This is why again I don't care what game we are or what like stakes there are, ever and ever. Me or begin and just kind of, okay, what are you afraid of? This, go. And again, I know my players really well, so I know like this person will be afraid of X, Y, Z, and I'll put it in the game.
Oh, and if you're gonna take inspiration from something else, make it different enough that people wouldn't recognize it, and like put a pretty big twist on it. Like, I made all characters from The Office, and they're all characters, so I wasn't gonna say anything about it or do anything about it because I just wanted that to be a thing for see if one of the players figured it out. And then they're like, I'm gonna start a fire, and I'm like, keep a straight face. Gave it the characters from The Office.
Once upon a time in that same Eldritch horror game I played, I had a big like, the gods are all dead or fallen to earth as mortals. Like, I can't think of the name of the gods that did the Star Citizen challenge off the top of my head, but I brought them back as mortals and made them NPCs and stuff. But like, as this is starting to happen, I would take good aligned and fight high levels. So it was like 12 solar angels, I think it was, and just suddenly they all burst like tentacles where their wings are, and they grow another like couple sets of arms, stuff like that. After like 30 minutes of talking to the party and getting them off in that corner, and then here come the sides.
See. Taking something that is
Well,
trusted and then
I
moving
think-
it into untrusted territory, so that they no longer know what to trust anymore.
Especially for all of my like, I had there were a lot of paladins in that
There
game.
were.
Lots of people worshiping
There
like
were.
Regathiel and Vildius and Iomade Omai. Just like, I don't think I really scared them because like ultimately everybody I play with in real life were all super good friends. We ended up just making dumb jokes and laughing about it because I think that's 50% of tabletop games anyway. But like in character, they're all like we are like spirited, charging, one-shotting angels, and it might not have scared them. A lot of like really interesting normal. Maybe necessarily like if you don't scare somebody, you can at least like taste that they didn't expect to go when they like rolled up in high fantasy, that kind of thing. And in my mind, that's a win too.
One more, and then
Okay.
we're done.
Nice.
Make sure you're pronouncing everything right, because
Things get really unscary when correct like
story I'm talking about.
the Dispater story.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's an archdevil, and we go like I'm on a monk, she's on a war priest, my friend is on a paladin, and we go to hell, and we go down to his lair, and I don't know how exactly you're supposed to pronounce it. I'm another like firm believer that Pathfinder needs a pronunciation guide.
They have it for the
Archdevil,
gods.
Totally fair.
and the GM over and over again, and everybody's trying to take it seriously. Meanwhile, I'm on the floor because I was laying down like half awake anyway, because that's our kind of gaming. And I'm just like rolling. It's just great. I'm 26 years old, but that day I was 12.
There you
And it
go.
just kind of, that atmosphere was
It was what made
dead.
it way funnier was because he's giving you a rule, and there lies the
Yeah, it was rough.
All right,
All right.
we can be done. We've rambled
So-
enough.
All right.
So yeah, pronunciation is important, I suppose. Of course, it could be
Yeah.
like Joel doesn't like the way I say Cthulhu. Most people say it Cthulhu. I say Cthulhu. Like a chitin snapping together. I go Cthulhu, and he doesn't like that. So some people may not like the way you say certain things, but technically Cthulhu doesn't have a specific way to be said. So I didn't say it wrong.
Yeah,
So
you just say it in like novelty.
I say it as I would think
There
an
was-
an undersea creature would say it. They would say Cthulhu. And when I talk, and I don't move my lips when I talk in with a creature without lips. So, well, you can
Mhm.
for like magpie, because ravens can mimic that anyway. And magpie is
Yeah.
amazing.
Because they're amazing.
He has amazing vocal cords.
Indeed. As far as inspirations, fearful inspirations that I had ideas for, Edgar Allan Poe, like she said, is great. If you're looking for other reading material, look for someone that he inspired, like Lovecraft. I love Lovecraft in that sense, but I also like the fiction that Lovecraft inspired as well. A story that I thought was really good, not necessarily fearful for me, but was good, was The Mound. And he collaborated with another author on it.
Mhm.
But I found it a good one to go to as well. So if you can find some of those are good ones that you can borrow from that not as many people have heard of or read. And that can be something that you can get a bit more mileage out of. There's also things
Yeah.
like The Thing, like was mentioned earlier, and that's actually a really good one to do, especially if you tell one of the PCs, okay, you're the thing, no one else knows, but you're the thing.
That's the only good thing about having cell phones at your tabletop experience. Is to just like, okay, I'm gonna send you do something, and then you're the bad guy. Be nice until I say not to.
Had that happen before.
Yeah, that and the whisper function.
Yeah. Roll
Yeah.
20 does have a whisper.
One other thing, real quick,
Okay.
about pronouncing your words correctly, Connor. It's a pseudo dragon, not a persuado dragon.
Oh man, that's rough.
I missed that. Did he call it a
That's like one of the
Pasuedo?
best improved familiars, and now I don't want to take it anymore.
It's a Pasuedo dragon. It's like a little tater that sits up on your shoulder with wings and a tail.
It always makes me think of pasta. Persuado.
Pasuedo? Or maybe it's like
We're gonna go
Piscotti.
make some Play-Doh.
Yeah, it sounds like some kind of
Well,
dish.
and they're tater dragons. Yeah.
Tater dragon. Now I want a tater dragon.
Some persuado with fettuccine sauce.
Away.
Oh. Okay. So yeah, doing that, watching some spooky movies are good. Especially if you take something like The Thing and you set it in a totally different area that's still just as isolated. That can be super spooky.
Mhm.
Or
Yeah.
trying to take different twists on the established tropes. Like being stuck in a dream world isn't particularly new, but I did not present it to them as outright, hey, you're in a campaign where you're going to be stuck in a dream world. That wasn't a thing. They just went to sleep one night and woke up in a dream, or woke up as best you could in a dream, and kept finding themselves in the same town. So that can be a big deal. And sometimes, like we talked about, fear will just creep in when you're giving them a nice tense situation. If I can do that again, I will just enjoy it thoroughly. But hey, we'll see how that goes. So any final inspirations for people before we go? You got a minute if you want to tell something.
I think the only other thing I can really think of personally is like, I think horror is kind of a dying art, at least in the fact that like you don't see. I know it was just remade, but you don't see a lot of like overly inundated horror stuff coming out all over the place. So like if you know your group is a little younger, and like maybe they don't know, and unfortunately for them, maybe they don't know like old Resident Evil, old Silent Hill, the stuff that like when all my friends are playing Super Mario, I'm playing Resident Evil 2.
Yeah,
Like that nobody knows about. It's
Well-
just as good, and like I said, as the ramp does this, you have access to more stuff.
well, to be fair, Tommy, judging by your age, at the age you were playing Silent Hill, you probably shouldn't have been playing Silent Hill. You should have been playing Mario Kart.
Oh no,
Uh-oh.
I should have.
Yeah, you probably should have.
Oops.
Oops. Oh, okay. Any last words from you, Kane?
No, I'm good. I ran the well dry with stealing. That it was the width and breadth of my knowledge.
Okay. Oh, final thing that I thought of. Yeah, play those games like Silent Hill 2 especially was really good with atmosphere. And
Oh, yeah.
if you can verbally
Good.
describe that in your game, that would be key. Expanding your vocabulary. So using things and verbs that are not often talked about, like gibbous moon. Well, it just means full moon. It's a full moon outside. But if you say it is the gibbous moon drips down its light on the scene, it means so much more than
Like
just...
Ring Mouther.
Yeah, the glibbering mouther. The glibbering mouther bursts forth its flames in a sphere. Yeah, that kind of offset people. All right. Well, that is everything for this time, travelers. Thank you for coming to the Planar Crossroads and to the Around the Hearth. This next Around the Hearth will be actually posted on Black Dragon's channel, Black Dragon Gaming. So Tommy's
It will
channel
be.
will have the next
Black
one,
Dragon Gaming.
Black Dragon Gaming. Link in the description. If
And
we
if anybody, like honestly, anybody else amongst this, if you want to join, I'm just gonna do it over Discord, probably same time-ish. So I'm down for as many people as we can get a hold of. More people, more opinions, right?
okay.
Oh yeah, I know exactly.
All right. So, that's what we've got going. You can tune in next time for that. Like he said, it'll be about the same time. Different channel. Well, probably different channel. We'll see if I can get my internet to stream better, because I don't think it streamed to Twitch. Otherwise, we'll just record it like we are now, and you guys will get it either way. But that's everything. Have a great day. God bless and enjoy. We will see you next time, travelers, at the end of Planar Crossroads. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.